Tune Transformer is a MuseScore 3 plugin that shifts the notes of a given melody to fit a given new chord progression. On YouTube, jazz musicians like to take a melody and shift its notes to fit a famous sequence of chords known as the Coltrane changes. For a very specific audience, the outcome of this process is hilarious. I wondered if it were possible to automate or approximate this process by generalizing it to any melody and any chord progression. Hence, this project lies in the intersection of three of my interests: music theory, computer science, and memes. To use the plugin, take an input melody, and enter chord symbols above it. Then, run the plugin. The plugin will shift each note of the melody to fit the chord progression. Here are some examples of what you can create using this plugin. Our first victim is Mozart's Piano Sonata No. 16. Let's modify it to fit the Coltrane changes. Notice that if the note falls on a strong beat, the note is shifted to the nearest chord tone. If the note falls on a weak beat, the plugin calculates a scale that can be played over the chord, and the note is shifted to the nearest scale tone. Here are some more examples of how scales are calculated from chords. Snapping the melody notes to scale tones, and not just chord tones, is important in allowing for non-chord tones like passing tones and auxiliary tones to somewhat remain in the output melody. Instead, if we were to snap every note in the melody to the nearest chord tone, the melody would be too arpeggiated, like this. Second, here is what Kirby's theme would sound like under the rhythm changes. Note that you can use the NC chord symbol to protect regions of the melody from being modified by the plugin. Here, we do this to preserve the rare naturally occurring lick. The output of the plugin still requires some amount of manual adjustment, because it does not understand musical context. Firstly, notes are examined individually, without reference to the melodic context. Returning to Mozart, the original melody has a scalar quality. However, the plugin outputs a melody with repeated notes and leaps, where a chromatic passing tone would be better. A possible solution is to also consider the original melody's contour when choosing the output note. Secondly, chords are also examined individually, without knowledge of the harmonic context. For example, consider these three chords. The plugin determines a scale that suits each of the three chords. However, unbeknownst to the plugin, this chord progression is in the key of D major. A G major scale is recommended for the G major chord, even though the G Lydian scale would better fit the key signature of D major. A possible solution is to look at the most recent key signature to determine the harmonic function of each chord. I should mention now that this plugin heavily depends on the code in Mark Shepard's Expand Chord Symbols plugin, which calculates which notes belong in any given chord. In conclusion, Tune Transformer shifts the notes of a melody to fit a chord progression. Despite its limitations, it still provides a good approximation of how a human would carry out this process. To download the plugin, visit the link in the description and follow the instructions. Thank you and have fun.